Oh hi. Naples, the city in Italy. The administrative center of the campaign area and the territorial unit of the same name equated to the province. It is located on the bank of the northern Bay of Naples. The third largest city of Italy, after Rome and Milan, and the biggest city of the southern Italy with the population about 1 million people, with suburbs about 3 million. Large transport hub, international airport, seaport, along with official Italian, the Neapolitan language which developed, as well as Italian, from a local dialect of Latin is widespread in use of locals. The patron of the city, Saint Januarius, whose Day of Remembrance is celebrated on September 19 as a city holiday. The city is in a seismodangerous zone, a historical part on the western slope of Vesuvius. The last eruption of Vesuvius took place in 1944. The last catastrophic earthquake happened in Naples in 1980. To the east from Naples there are Pompeii and Herculaneum, the antique cities on the bank of the Bay of Naples destroyed by eruption of Vesuvius of the 79th year. Ashes buried these cities and kept invariable up to now. Annually in this area excavation which brings to archaeologists everything new opening are conducted. At the beginning of November of the place of excavation are available for all comers. All found objects carefully restore and expose in the National Archaeological Museum of Naples. In 40 km to the north from Naples there is a royal palace in Caserta, one of the most large-scale in Europe. Naples was founded by the Greek settlers in the 8th century BB under the name Partenopa, by name a mythological siren. In the 4th century BB Partenopa was destroyed by Italica, but soon near her there was a new city which received the Greek name Naples. Subsequently it became a part of the Roman Republic, and then the Roman Empire. Castelnuovo in 476 was imprisoned in fortresses after the overthrow of Romulo Augustus, the last emperor of the Western Roman Empire. In the 6th century Naples was conquered by Byzantines during attempt of the Emperor Justinian I to recreate the Roman Empire. In 638, 1137 years I was the capital of actually independent Duchy Naples until it was occupied by Normans. In 1139 it is attached to the Sicilian kingdom by the King Roger II. In 1224 the Neapolitan University is founded. In 1266 the city together with all Sicilian kingdom was transferred by the father to Charles I Antrusci, who transferred the capital from Palermo to Naples. In 1284 the kingdom was divided into two parts, each of which put forward claims for the right to be called Kingdom Sicily. In the 17th century Naples totaled 300,000 inhabitants and was the second largest city of Europe after Paris. He was Nice for San Carlos Theatre, at the time the biggest in the world. Since 1504 the city belonged to Spain and was the main military base Gabsburg in fight against Valois. In 1647 in the city there was a large popular uprising under the leadership of Masaniello. During war for the Spanish inheritance I passed under the power of Austria. In 1734 it is captured by Bourbons, and in January 1799 Napoleon, then in the city, de Partenopisci Republic, which in turn fell in July of the same year, was proclaimed. In 1805, because of eruption of Vesuvius, the considerable part of the city collapses, about 26,000 people perish. In 1806-1815 Naples was the capital of the Neapolitan kingdom, dependent on France, and since 1815, two Sicilies. In September 1860 the city was entered by a revolutionary army of J. Garibaldi. Then, as a result of a referendum, the end of the kingdom and foundation of the State of Italy was announced. In 1942-1943 the city was subjected to intensive American bombing. During raids about 1,900 people died. Besides industrial facilities, the station, the port, opera theatre, churches, many houses were destroyed. In September 1943 in the city occupied by the German troops, the revolt, as a result of which at the beginning of October 1943 Naples passed under control of Allies, broke up. Modern Naples is also associated with the Camorra and corruption. In 2007-2008 the city experienced difficulties with utilization of garbage and processing of waste because of what garbage crisis burst. Naples is divided into 10 municipal districts, each of which includes several historically developed quarters. Climate of Naples: the Mediterranean subtropical. Modern Naples, the densely populated city, with the international airport, seaport and the subway. The Central Line O. One of the Neapolitan subway is a sample of the public underground museum of modern art. Decorating of 25 metro stations is completed in 2005. The most beautiful metro station in Europe is located in Naples and built on the project of architects Massimiliano Fusis and Orion Madrali. The station is equipped within the MOM project, the Museum of the Subway, and reminds walk-in space. Sport. The city is house for Società Sportiva Calcio Napoli, the two-time winner of Series A, the six-time owner of the Cup of Italy and the winner of the UEFA Cup 1988-1989. Sites. Beauty of Naples in the 18th century was included into a saying. The familiar expression, to see Naples and to die, served as a prototype for creation of similar phrases concerning other world cities. The institutionalization of the Neapolitan song as certain independent phenomenon in the Italian folk music happened in the 1830th years when in Naples annual song contests began to be held. At the very first such competition the winner called the Ti voglio bene sage song, I love you very much, which authorship is attributed to Gaetano Donizetti. Also the song by Vincenzo Bellini Fenesta Che Elusive is among the first Neapolitan songs. The window doesn't shine. Among present sites of Naples are most known: National Museum and National Art Gallery are located in Capodimonte's Palace. The Summer Residence Palace of Bourbons in two Sicilies. The National Archaeological Museum of Naples, the museum containing, among other artifacts, finds from Pompeii and Herculaneum and a notorious confidential office. San Carlo's Theatre, the largest on spaciousness in Italy opera theatre. Castel dell'Ovo. Letters. A block. The less than latest greater the name beats unusual architecture. The lock of the 12th century built by Roger II Sitsuliski on the island in the Tyrrhenian Sea in the Bay of Naples. Castel Nuovo. New lock, another. The local name Maschio in Ziono. The lock built by the King Carl Anschutski in the 13th century to a beach. San Gaudioso's catacombs. Also San Gennaro's catacombs, San Severo's catacombs. Christian catacombs with late antique and early medieval mosaics. Are located in a northern part of Naples. The Royal Palace in Naples. Often in abbreviated form, the Palace Real. The main residence of Bourbons in two Sicilies. San Gennaro. St. Januarius' Cathedral. The Cathedral of Naples. It is consecrated in honor of the heavenly patron of the city, St. Januarius. Santa Chiara. The Saint Church of Clara Siskea. Gothic Church, a tomb of the Neapolitan Bourbons. Monastic, a Majolica masterpiece. Church San Lorenzo Maggiore, a masterpiece of a so-called Angevin Gothic style. Under San Lorenzo Maggiore, the antique market. The most ancient center of Naples, which ruins of Sconoruzia nowadays was dug up. The church San Domenico Maggiore, on the square of the same name. Dominican church of the 14th century, was reconstructed in Baroque style in the 17th century and in a neo-Gothic style in the 19th century, with Pietro Cavallini's frescoes. 14th century. Ferdinand I's tombs and Raimonda by Capianski. Santissima Annunziata's Basilica, the church put in the 14th century. In the second half of the first decades of the 17th centuries I was the most prestigious. Along with the royal court. The place of work of the Neapolitan musicians. Among other J. Viano, Schenz. Stella P. Tironi, J. D. Mac A. Naoni, J. M. Trabasi worked here. It is located in the downtown, in the quarter of Pendino. D. San Martino, the former Cartesian monastery of St. Martin. It is located on High Hill Vomero, from which the fine panorama of Naples and the bay opens. Sample of the Neapolitan Baroque. In Certosa, the National Museum of San Martino, it nowadays is placed. San Telmo, the fortress of the 14th century. A construction of the 16th century. The former monastery of Cartesians and the San Telmo Lock Tower over Naples and are visible from any place in the city. San Severo's chapel, in the past a private chapel and a tomb of notable family of Sangro. Family representatives carried a title of Princes of San Severo. Church Santa Maria in Purgatorio and Kostnica Fontanelle, samples of the peculiar cult of the dead which grew together with Catholicism. Ges Nuovo, Jesuit church in Baroque style in which relics of one of Giuseppe Moscotti's saints who are most esteemed in Naples are based. Dante Square, called in honor of the Italian poet Dante Alighieri. His monument also is on the square. In 1995, the historic center of Naples was included in the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage List. Are esteemed by patrons of the city Saint Januarius and other 50 saints, among whom Saint Jehoiakim, celebration on September 19. In 1882, a crater of Vesuvius solemnly opened the funicular. On this occasion, the composer Luigi Denza wrote the well-known Neapolitan song Funicula. The song quickly gained fame, remains popular today, and will remain popular. What you won't tell about the funicular. Eruptions of Vesuvius in 1906, 1911, 1929 and at last in March 1944 put an end to his functioning. Naples is considered the homeland of pizza, more precisely, that her look. Pizza Napolitana, which is known from 80th of the 19th century and practices until now. Two types of the Neapolitan pizza: marinara, and as classical with garlic, without cheese, and margherita reckon, with cheese and a basil, without garlic. In honor of the ancient name of Naples, the asteroid E11 of Parthenope opened on May 11, 1850 by the Italian astronomer Annibale de Gasparis in Naples is called. Also far. Write comments. Read comments. Interesting people will tell interesting stories. All of good mood and good luck.